So today we are doing two-step equations. So remember when we did the one-step equations, we were looking to get the letter on its own. To do that, we had to get rid of something that was with that letter and do the opposite to the other side. Okay, so with two-step equations, you've got to imagine it's like you've got a lifeboat. It's sinking, it's starting to fill with water because there's too many people in your lifeboat. So you have to make a decision. It's a moral dilemma. Who do I get rid of first? All right, so these are actually moral dilemmas that are discussed quite a lot in problem-solving things. And you might actually ask questions of everybody on the boat, what they do. At the moment, you'd probably like to keep a doctor on board. All right, so if somebody was a doctor, you'd probably keep that person on board. So you're making decisions on people's lives. So I want you to think of it a little bit like that. So if you're just doing it based on people you like, all right, you're going to keep your best friend with you as long as you possibly can. Okay, so we're going to keep the best friend of the letter with him all the way to the end of the equation. We're going to get rid of the number that is furthest removed from the x, like his acquaintance. Okay, so we're going to move him first out, and then we're going to keep your best friend with you as long as you can, but in the end, you're going to have to get rid of him as well so that you can be on your own, so the letter can be on its own. All right, so that's what I've written over there. We're going to try it now with these equations. So if you look at this equation here, we've got all our equal signs lined up, all right, so that we can see our left and our right-hand sides. So here's our letter, it's x this time, and we eventually want to get the x by itself. So to do that, we have to get rid of the 2 and we have to get rid of the plus 1. But which one of those is furthest removed from the x, not his best friend? It's the plus 1, okay, because the 2's attached to the x. They're best buddies, okay, so he's not moving yet, he's staying with the x. So the plus 1 is what's going first. So I want you to circle that with your red pen. Now once the plus 1's gone, you're going to be left with just 2x on the left-hand side. On the right, we have 11 already there. When the plus 1 comes over, we're doing the opposite operation. So we're doing minus 1. Then we're just going to work out what 11 minus 1 is. That's 10. Keep the 2x. And now you're up to the last step. So you do have to get rid of your best friend, which is the 2 now. So there's a times in here. Don't forget to put that in. We're getting rid of times 2. So once it's gone, the x will be by itself. And over here on the right, we're going to write down the 10. And we're going to do the opposite of times 2, which is divide by 2. And remember, we write our divisions with a fraction bar. So here we are doing the opposite of the operation, dividing by 2. Okay, so over here now, we just get the calculator, put in your calculator 10 over 2 with your fraction key and press equals. It will give you a 5, and there's the answer to the question. All right, so let's look at the next one. So in this next one, we're going to be getting rid of the minus 3 and the plus 10 so that x can be by itself. The best friend of x is the minus 3. It's attached to him. So we're going to get rid of the plus 10 first. All right, so if we do that, we'll be left with minus 3x on the left-hand side. Over here on the right, we've got 4. Now we're doing the opposite of plus 10, which is minus 10. All right, so we're doing the opposite when we come over to the other side. So now we're going to copy down the minus 3x, work out 4 minus 10 on your calculator. That will give you minus 6. And now we're up to getting rid of your best friend. So your best friend is times minus 3. We're getting rid of that, so we're going to divide by minus 3. So we're left with x by itself on the left-hand side. On the right, we have minus 6. And now we're going to be dividing by minus 3, doing the opposite of times minus 3. So you go to your calculator. Don't forget you're pressing it into your fraction key. So press your fraction key, and we're pressing minus 6. You can use this minus sign here if you like. And then down arrow, minus 3. And then press equals. And you end up with 2. and we've got the x on the left-hand side by itself. All right, so we're going to do all of these questions the same way. We're looking at what we need to get rid of first, not your best friend. That's going first. So that will leave us with minus 7x on the left. Copy down what we already have, minus 17 on the right. We're doing the opposite of plus 4, which is minus 4. Copy this down. Use your calculator and that will give you minus 21. Then we're getting rid of your best friend, which is times minus 7. So when we get rid of it, the x is by itself. Copy down our minus 21 first. And now we're doing the opposite of times minus 7, which is divide by minus 7. So now when you go to your calculator, use your fraction key and put that in. You'll end up with x equals 3 when you put that in your calculator. All right, the next one. We've got a 2 and a minus 5 to get rid of. The one that's not your best friend is minus 5. He's going first. Keep the 2x. Write down your 9 that's already here. And now we're doing the opposite of minus 5, which is plus 5. So now we've still got 2x on the left. Work that out on your calculator and you get 14. And now we're getting rid of our times 2. Don't forget to put the times in between the number and the letter. And we have x by itself. Copy your 14. Now the opposite of times 2 when we come over here is divide by 2. Now use your fraction key, put it in your calculator, and that will give you 7. X equals 7. Okay, the next one, we're looking at number 5. Okay, so in this one, minus 2 is not the best friend, 5 is. 5's the best friend, we're leaving that till last. So you keep your 5x, copy the 43. Now we're doing the opposite of minus 2, which is plus 2. So we copy our 5x down, do 43 plus 2 on your calculator and you'll get 45. And now we're getting rid of our best friend, the times 5 here. So we've got x by itself now, copy your 45, and now we're doing the opposite of times 5, which is divide by 5. Use your fraction key on your calculator, press in 45 over 5, and that will give you a 9 over there, and your answer is x equals 9. All your working has to be exactly how I'm doing it. Equal signs lined up. I don't want to see anyone just writing 9 down as an answer. It has to say x equals 9. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now this looks a bit different, but it's still similar. You've just got to work out which of these numbers, 2 or plus 5, is more removed from the x. Well, this is the one that's closer to it. It's involved in the same fraction. So 2 is our best friend. We're not touching that. Okay, we're going to move this first. So circle it. So that will keep x over 2 on the left-hand side. Now we've got 9 on the right. And now we're going to do the opposite of plus 5, which is minus 5. So now we're going to keep our x over 2, work out 9 minus 5, that gives you 4. And now you can get rid of your best friend. So you can get rid of the divided by 2. Remember your fraction bar is divided by. So we're going to get our x by itself, copy the 4 on the right hand side, and now we're doing the opposite of divided by 2, which is times by 2. So now you just work that out on your calculator and you end up with, don't forget the x equals 8. Okay, now we're doing 3 more examples, so I'll just come over to the other side here. Hopefully we can see all that properly. Yeah. All right, so we're looking at number 7. All right, so in number 7, the best friend is the 2 underneath the m. So we're getting rid of the minus 8 first, not your best friend. So that will leave you with m over 2. Copy the minus 5 down. And now we're doing the opposite of minus 8. Opposite of minus 8 is plus 8. Okay, so now we're going to work that out. M over 2 minus 5 plus 8 is 3. And now we're going to get rid of your best friend, which is this divided by 2 here. So that will leave us with m on its own on the left-hand side. Copy the 3 on the right. And now let's do the opposite. What's the opposite of divided by 2? It's times by 2. And now you just work out the last bit. 3 times 2 is 6. So our answer is m equals 6. All right, in this next one, we have to get rid of the 3 and the minus 1. Which one goes first? Which one's not the best friend? It's this one here. So we're going to keep the a over 3, copy the 2 down on the right-hand side, and what's the opposite of minus 1? Plus 1. All right, so we're going to keep our a over 3. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And now you're getting rid of your best friend. Remember your fraction bar is divided by, so we're getting rid of divided by 3. That will leave us with a by itself. Copy this 3 down that's already on the right-hand side. And now we're doing the opposite of divided by 3, which is times by 3. And now you just work that on your calculator and you get a equals 9. All right, now this next question here is supposed to be a bit trickier, but I think we can do this. I don't think we should be considering this as hard. I want you to think about this. Which of these numbers with the k is closer to it? Is it the plus 1? Is that the best friend? Or is it the 3 on the bottom? Well, it's the plus 1 because they're together on the top of the fraction. So you want to keep the plus 1 with the k as long as possible. That's your best friend. So what we're getting rid of is the divided by 3. Remember the fraction bar is divided by. So if we get rid of that, we'll be left with k plus 1 on the left-hand side. We're copying what's on the right, which is 5. And now we're doing the opposite of divided by 3, which is times by 3. So let's copy your k plus 1 and work out 5 times 3. That's 15. And now you can get rid of your best friend, which is your plus 1. Circle it. That will leave you with just a k on the left-hand side, which is what we want to happen when we're solving equations. We want the letter by itself. Copy down the 15 on the right-hand side. And now we're doing the opposite of plus 1 over here on the other side, which is minus 1. And if you work that out, you'll get k equals 14, and that's the answer to your question. So I know you may have seen some of these questions in primary school and you probably think, oh, I think I could guess that answer. You are not going to get any marks for these questions if you guess it. Even if you guess it right, you'll be extremely lucky. And a lot of these answers will end up being fractions, negative numbers, decimals. It hasn't really happened today, but it does happen. If I'm setting an exam, I'm going to make sure the answers are not going to be whole numbers to stop you guessing. Okay, now these questions, because they're called two-step equations, they will be worth 2 marks in a test. Okay, so you might do a little bit of a part of this question and make a mistake. Okay, so you might go 43 plus 2 equals 44. All right, then when you put this in your calculator, you get 44 over 5, and the calculator says it's 44 over 5. That's okay, you write that down. If you've made one error on the way through all the working, you'll get 1 out of 2 for it. Okay, so you never stop on a question if you're not sure, you just keep going with it, but these will all be worth 2 marks in the test, not just 1. Okay, so good luck with your homework. You do need to practice it. You need to do all the working like I've shown you. I don't want to see anybody not doing it the way I've taught you. If you want to get better at maths, you must do it the way I've taught you.